Hey Pokemon trainers and gym leaders, today we're back with another 10 cards less than £10 that you can grade for crazy profit. We're going to break this down into 5 promos and 5 regular cards. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be kicking off with one of my favourite cards from this list, the Gengar Sword and Shield promo from Lost Origin. I believe this was in the pre-release build and battle decks, and it just about falls under our £10 mark. So really excited to have this one on the list. As you can see, ungraded, £9 and 3 pence. PSA 10, it says £86 and 53 pence. If we get the graph up, you can see it's on a bit of an upward trajectory, not anything too wild. However, when we hop on over to eBay, you can see that cards sold within the last sort of few days at the time of recording. PSA 10, £208, and another Gem Mint 10 best offer accepted, let's call it 140, 185, 156, 188, almost 300 that one, interesting. Another 200, another 160, probably another 160 here, another 156 here. So it just goes to show you that this card is actually very much creeping up in price, no matter what the price charting tools say. So it's always good to do these extra bits of research. I love using eBay because it's the truest reflection of what has recently sold. And again, it just gives you that accurate representation of what people are actually paying, how frequently something is being sold, and also what the sort of demand is like. 'Cause, I mean, this is a very consistent every sort of few weeks, in some cases every few days, another graded copy is selling. So well worth stocking up on a few of these. This is one that I'm absolutely going to be chasing myself just to get a load of, A, because it's one of my favorites of my favorite Pokemon, but also it has that long-term potential. As the Sword and Shield era gets older and older, cards like this are always going to go up in price just due to the fact that they're out of print and you're not able to just pick them up off the shelf anymore. Carrying on with Sword and Shield, we have the Pikachu Sword and Shield 234 promo from Pokemon Go. Again, super cheap card, less than £2 raw, graded in a PSA 10. Again, the tool is only saying £57 and 9 pence here. If we get the PSA 10 price up, you can see it's had a very steady and quite a realistic growth curve here, in the sense of we're not seeing any like straight up vertical lines. It's consistent, again, as you'd expect for a promo card from Sword and Shield era, probably sort of 5, 6 years old now. It's hard to get in a 10, as we know, with promos in general, especially from the Sword and Shield era, as they were kind of just jammed into blister packs or collection boxes. But again, when we hop on over to eBay, you can see that there's not huge amounts of sales for this card, but a recent sale went through at 114. This in, I believe is it Tree Frog grading, a bit of an unknown grading company, went for 58. So there's a potential to cross grade there. If one company's graded it at 10, you know you should realistically be looking at least a 9 in your other chosen grading body. But again, £84, best offer accepted. So this person actually did quite well when you think that it went for over almost £20 more afterwards. Again, a Japanese promo, English one. This person's had like an absolute bargain here when you think 19th of May went for £26. I mean, on the 5th of May, one went for 65, but then you go to a recent sale at 84. So it just goes to show that, again, this card is consistently, steadily increasing. This may not be a quick flip, but it's definitely one that you can hold on to. And again, it's a Pikachu, always going to do well. Pokemon Go is currently booming. As part of Pokemon Presents, they released that they're running some Max Eternatus event, so there's going to be more people playing it again. Pikachu, face of the franchise, quite a cute card. I know a lot of people sort of not enjoying Pokemon Go as a set because of when it came out, and they were a bit disappointed by it. But this is a great card in my opinion, and again, one that people will look at in the future because it's a Pikachu, because it's a promo. And again, if you missed out on the Sword and Shield era, you're going to look to pick it up retrospectively. And that's where these sorts of things come into play. Just quickly, if you like this style of video, please let me know in the comment section below. Smash that like button, or even give my account a follow. It really helps me grow this small channel at the moment and lets me know what kind of videos you guys want to see in the future. Thanks. Up next, we have the Zacian Level X Sword and Shield promo number 135. Again, this card you can pick up for less than £3. This one came out of a collection box. It's had a very sort of steady raw price. It's going up slightly at the moment as we're getting nearer to the 30th anniversary celebration, which I'm so excited for. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they bring out, but also a bit sort of nervous as to how readily available the products are going to be, but that's a discussion for another day. If we look at the PSA 10 pricing for this card, you can see it's a bit all over the place. $160, so about £130 back in April 2022. Went up to apparently a PSA 10 sale at $500 in September, pretty questionable. Comes back down to $125, so actually lower than the April 2022 pricing at the end of the year in December. And then it's flatlined at $275 or about £200. What's interesting to see here is there aren't a huge amount of sales for this card on eBay. I will get into that. But if you look here at previous sales, you can see back in 2022, so what's making up these figures here, there was one sold at £188 in a PSA 10, one sold at £225 in a PSA 10, and one sold at a mammoth price of £375. When we hop on over to eBay itself, you can see that there was one sold on the 27th of June and it was best offer accepted at £312. Even if we really, really lowball this one and say that that card went for like £200, so £112 below asking price, or even if we cut that card straight in half, you're still looking at like £150. When you think that this is on a card that you can pick up for £3 and then grade, call it another £20, £25 all in for like return shipping, and dependent on if you upgrade to like an ace label if you do it in the UK, all of a sudden that £25 turns into £150 or £200. Very quick money spinner. Great card to pick up again anyway, just even if you don't have a gradable copy, because it's a celebration, they're all going to go up next year with the 30th anniversary, so easy one to pick up, super cheap. You can see people have been picking it up raw for just over a pound, another just over a pound, just over £2 quite recently at the time of recording, so definitely one to pick up. And again, it's Zacian, Sword and Shield Legendary, you can't go too wrong with these. Moving into a bit of Sun and Moon now, we have the Detective Pikachu promo number 190. Fantastic card in my opinion, ties in with the Detective Pikachu film. I actually really enjoyed it. But this card's actually really, really cheap for A promo, and B, a Pikachu promo, and the fact that it's from the Sun and Moon era as well. As you can see, very consistently stayed at like 50 cents up to a dollar, so like 50p, and now it's gone up to the high price of $4 or about £2.50. Really, really affordable. But then when you get into the PSA 10 price of this card, again, you can see that upon release went up to $250 in the PSA 10, had a slight dip, but then went straight back up. And then recent sales of it have actually been hovering around that $140 mark or about £110 ish, which again doesn't sound like a huge amount, but if you were doing this en masse and grading a lot of copies of this card, again, you're turning 25, £30 into 110, 120 plus. And when we hop on over to eBay, you can actually see that a PSA 10 version of this card, granted it's the stamped one, sold for around £200. You've got a German one that sold at £53. Bit cheeky saying it's English, but that's the risk you take when you shop on eBay. But then you can see another DVD one at 132. Then a regular Black Star promo at £98, a regular one at £160, another one at 140 without the DVD stamp, another one at 125, this one at £73, but I believe it's in German, another one in German for 105. So the fact that it's going for 105 in German goes to show that the demand for it there, but also how much more the English version would command. So again, easy one to pick up. If you can get it in a grade worthy condition, definitely do. Again, you're turning £25 all in approximately to £130 plus if you get that 10, which obviously isn't a guarantee, but it just goes to show that there is opportunity there. And again, these cards are so cheap and affordable to pick up at the moment. You can purchase 10, 20 of them. You're only spending 25, £30, and in that you may have a good chance of getting at least one card that gets a 10, and if it does, you've more than covered your cost and still made a nice bit of profit. Sticking with the Sun and Moon era, we're going into what is now our last promo, and it is the Eevee promo number 184. This one, I believe, also came in a blister pack. Very nice Eevee card again, year of the Eevee. As we know, everything goes a bit fucking bananas when it comes to Eevee at the moment. Prismatic, absolute shit show. Very nice artwork, very cute card, which we know is quite a good thing in terms of people looking to get back into the hobby. They want to pick up the cute cards, they want to pick up the Eevees. Really cheap card to do, but again, if you were to get in a 10, the chart in here is saying £74. If we look at the actual growth of the card, you can see it was $70 ish, about £50, dropped down to about $40, which is about 25, £30, and has recently gone back up to around that $100 mark. When we hop on over to eBay, there weren't a huge amount of sale listings, but you can see this one from PSA themselves sold for $180 or approximately £136. So again, just goes to show, cheap card, can grade it in a 10, and there is a demand for it. People are always going to love Pikachus, they're always going to love Eevees, and this is a great example of a promo that you can pick up very cheap, grade it in a 10, and get that big profit. Now we go into our 5 regular cards, kicking off with Pikachu number 79 from Holon Phantoms. Holon Phantoms is a set that's getting more and more expensive, and there are some cheap cards still available, but again, they have huge potential for grading. This card you can pick up for £3.70, which I think is fantastic because it's a Delta species card, it's a Pikachu as well. There's a lot of things to love and unpack here, but ultimately a card that's less than £4 to pick up. If we look at the graded price trajectory, you can see $78 ish, drop down to 65, and then back up around that $90 mark, or about £70. When we hop on over to eBay, you can see that one actually sold very recently, 25th of June, for £155. So again, you can't just rely on the price charting tools. £155 as opposed to 75 that it was saying on there, double the amount. And again, if you turn in a £4 card into £160, you are sitting very, very happy. So a cool one to pick up because it's a common card as well. I think it has a better chance because there's less chance of, say, the hollow scratches or anything like that around the condition. So surface is less of a worry than if you're grading a regular hollow card or even a reverse hollow. So a really cool opportunity to pick up a card. Very cheap. Again, Pikachu, everyone loves Pikachu. People will probably come to collect Pikachus from previous sets if they get back into the hobby. So again, huge opportunity there. Very nice card, and it's ultimately Delta species, which is some of my favourite type of cards. So well worth keeping an eye on. And Holon Phantoms is only getting more and more expensive. So a premium set that still has some affordable cards is a massive win in my books. And now we move into Power Keepers with Gardevoir number 9. This is a holo rare. Again, a card that you can pick up raw for around £4, which in my opinion is an absolute steal. This is a beautiful card. Love this era of holos. And again, you can see that ungraded, hovering around the $5, went up to 11, so about £8, and then back down to $4.88. So call it $5 or £3.50. When we hop on over to eBay, again, you can see a recent sale at £250 with bids as well. So it wasn't just somebody bought it on a whim. People were actively bidding up and trying to purchase this card. So huge, huge opportunity. I mean, it is a beautiful card. People love Gardevoir as well. And this era, the EX era of Pokemon cards, is one of the best. So loads of things in its favour here, and such an affordable card for the era when you think that we're looking at, what, 2007 on this card, so 18 years old, and you can still pick it up for less than £5. It's absolutely ludicrous, and it's definitely something that I'm going to be looking to do quite a bit of. Hopefully at London Card Show this month. If not, I'll definitely be looking at Card Market, eBay, and Vinted to try and pick up some steals. We couldn't have this list without featuring more evolutions, unfortunately. So up next we have the Sylveon Reverse Hollow number 155 from Cosmic Eclipse. One thing to state, reverse hollows from this era are prone to scratches, so getting them in a 10 wavy condition is definitely going to be a bit harder, but because of that, there is so much more reward if you can do it. So this might be one that you look for actually at card shows instead of purchasing online, but it's a card that you can pick up ungraded for less than £8, which again, for a Sylveon of this era, Sun and Moon, especially Cosmic Eclipse, is getting very pricey now. You can see that it's had a bit of steady growth, but nothing too alarming that's like suspicious. It's just general growth for a card that's been out of print for years. If we go into PSA 10 conditions, however, you can see $50 until the start of January, and then soon shot up to over 200, and recent sales as of August going at $280 or about £210. When we hop on over to eBay again, it's quite hard to find recent sales data for these cards, but you can see this one sold for approximately £380. Best offer accepted, but even if we drop that back down to say £250, so 130 less than the listed price, which would be a massive discount on the card, it's a successful sale on that card, and it just goes to show that the opportunity is there. The fact that there isn't a huge amount of sales data should not actually put you off, because it means that you are able to almost set the price for it when you come to sell it, because it's not like grading a Charizard from Obsidian and Flames, for instance, that there's going to be a lot in circulation. Same with any recent set from the Scarlet and Violet era and even parts of Sword and Shield. But going into Sun and Moon, again, reverse holos that probably haven't been picked up because everyone's only grading like the tag teams from this time. There's a huge opportunity here where you can almost set the price yourself, and also you are able to sort of see how the market reacts to it. And ultimately, again, year of the EV, everyone's getting annoyed with Prismatic. It's a chance to offer up an alternative, and this is a great example of a card that you can do that with. Sticking with evolutions and cosmic eclipse, we have the Vaporeon reverse holo number 42. Again, this card is actually less than £6, so a little bit cheaper, and has a recent PSA 10 sales price listed at £128. Again, you can see this steady growth of the card going from around that $3, so £2 mark, up to $8 or just over £5. We look at the PSA 10 growth chart for it. Again, you can see very steady growth as you'd expect, and then at the same time, going into January, huge growth, $170, and it stayed there consistently. When we hop on over to eBay, you can see one sold in Canadian dollars for £475. As a rough conversion, you're looking at about £230 on this card. So again, huge potential growth if you can grade a reverse holo in that 10. Goes to show people do want this card. It's not a recent sale, but that also stands in your favour that if it's sold in January for say £230, you're probably knocking on 260 for this card now. So huge opportunity if you can grade it. And again, evolutions are always going to be popular. Same with Pikachu's, same with Charizards, and the fact that you can pick these up for less than £5 in most cases, huge opportunity for you if you're willing to take that risk. And the final card on this list is the Ninetales number 17 from Call of Legends. This is quite an old set now. Again, a card that you can pick up for just under £10, so this one is very much on that threshold. But you can see that the growth chart for the card itself, Raw, has actually been fairly realistic. It's had like ups and downs as you'd expect, but has been trending upwards. When we look at the PSA 10 price, however, you can see PSA 10 at $250, then recent sales way up in the 500s. So call it $520, about £400 ish. There isn't a huge amount of recent sales data for this when you're looking on eBay itself, but you can see these sales on price charting itself from 2023 have it around £400, which again, crazy money for a card that you can pick up for £10, all in probably about £35 with grading fees. Huge opportunity. And Call of Legends itself is a set that I'll probably cover a lot more of in my next video, as there are so many great cards from this set that are reasonable to pick up that have huge opportunity for grading, especially these regular commons and holo rare cards. As we've seen with the Gardevoir, holo rares or even just commons like the Delta Species Pikachu, far easier to grade than the reverse holos like we've seen with the evolutions, just because there's less surface to get scratched. So I say a lot easier, but definitely far easier to grade than reverse holos. Great opportunity, and again, if you're able to pick these cards up in person at card shows or even just your local card shop and actually physically check those conditions, there is only great opportunity for you there, and is well worth taking that risk. There's even a graded 9 sells at £56, so yeah, it's not a huge amount of profit there, but you're still more than making your money back and a little bit extra. So it's not a total loss, unlike with modern cards where if you grade a 9, it's worth the same price as it is raw. So again, there is opportunity there. You just have to look for the more unusual and out there cards or sets, and hope that you can get that 10. As we know, depending on who you grade with, it can be quite finger in the air subjective, pulling grades out their ass, but there is potential, there is chance, and ultimately that's the name of the game when we're looking at grading cards for profit. And there we have it. Let me know which of the cards we featured in today's video you're going to be looking to pick up. For me, it's definitely going to be the promos at the moment. Promos seem to be going crazy in the current market. Yes, they're harder to grade in a 10, but if you do, they offer the greatest reward. But for now, let me know what you're picking up in the comment section, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Pokey Strongman out.